So in this video, let's go ahead and see if we can figure out how much each of these panels costs. Now, honestly, a little earlier, as I got to thinking about it between the last video and this video, the numbers I have here are a little high, I would say. And, $80 per square foot, you know, maybe for fire rated glass, but this isn't fire rated glazing. So I'm going to say my cost per these, I'm going to say they're maybe like, um, let's call it $35 per square foot. Okay, and once I hit that once, it's going to say it's going to apply it to all. So now I'm at $35. And then down here for the solid panels, I'll say those are, let's call them 25 or even $20 per square foot because they're not glass. All right, so they're $20. So that's a little more reasonable. $35 for the glass, the see-through panels, and $20 for the solid panels that we don't see through. Now what we can go ahead and do is figure out how much area times cost will be. And chances are, let's do that with a new parameter. So let's go to fields, and let's say we want to create a calculated parameter, and we're going to use a formula, not a percentage like we did with the room schedule last time. And we're going to call this cost per panel, right? All right. And for the discipline, we're going to leave it at common. All right. And for the type, we're going to say we want this to be a currency type, right? And now with the formula, some of you have written Excel formulas before, and it can get a little tricky. You know, I usually copy and paste most of the ones I've written in the past, so I don't have to write them a lot. But notice over here, we've got this option for 3 dots. And if we click on it, it's giving us, we can do a calculated formula with the height, width, area, and cost. And I think you understand for this one, we need area. And we'll click on area and say, okay. And then we're going to put a space in there. And then I'm going to do a Shift 8, which is the times, right? And then I'm going to go back here and I'm going to say cost. Or maybe I could have typed cost, and I don't really know. It doesn't matter. And then I want you to see a problem I'm going to have. I'm going to put a divided by, and I'm going to say divided by 1 foot. And in order to do the square, some of you might know, like on your calculator, I have to hold down Shift and hit the 6. And then I'm going to have to put by 2. Okay? And now that I've got that in there, area times cost divided by square foot. And I'm going to say, okay. And then there's cost per panel. And once I click on cost per panel, now look what it said. It does. It throws that cost per panel in there. And even that's a little expensive, people. Right off the top of my head, I don't have the exact numbers for curtain wall glass, but it's pricey. You know, it's not the cheapest thing in the world, especially when you start getting some large pieces of glass. It can start getting pricey. So what I'm going to do now is say, hey, I got my cost per panel. Let's go in and look at maybe perhaps formatting that particular one. If I go to cost per panel, and then when I'm in cost per panel, maybe I want to say calculate totals, right? And then in the field format, I'm going to click there and I'm going to say uncheck use that project settings. Currency is what's there. And then I'm going to say decimal places 2, that's okay. The unit symbol, $sign, that's what we use here. I'm going to say okay, okay, and now it's calculating totals. So we've got $191,000 on this one, and then $47 on this one. I'm sorry, $47,000 on this other one. So we got some pretty pricey curtain walls. And you know, I'm interested. I'm curious. So while we're here, I'm just going to grab a total. I'm going to come over here and say in a Google search, CRTA curtain. Whoops, that's not right. CURT curtain wall panel cost per square foot, and see what a good number is. Look at this. So glass curtain wall, wow, actually per square foot, average in some places it's saying is $52.90. So I'm low on this right now. So let's say mine was 50 bucks, and then the solid one's usually a little cheaper. So we weren't too far off. I'm going to click on this other one, and notice in this article it's telling me that let's see if I can find something in here. I saw a reference to it. Just one. Yeah, look in this article I found. It's saying here, it says, although costs vary by labor market, building teams can expect to spend about $30 or more per square foot for glass and framing. All right. But it says, according to one fabricator, it's about $100 a square foot. So pretty costly, right? Curtain wall isn't exactly cheap. And so that's why we have to think about what we're using on a project when we're designing. And that's pretty significant when it comes to when we're figuring out the cost of something. And so when we're doing that sort of thing, I'm going to go in here and check this digit grouping as well. I should have did that as well before. And now that I do that, it's got the digits all grouped and they're matched properly. But what we're finding out is that curtain wall, I wasn't too terribly far off in the beginning. And you know, this cost could probably be $50. I'll leave it at 35. No need to change it. And I'll leave this at 20. But just so you understand, there's significant costs involved. That's why schedules in Revit are so important for us. Maybe not in college, in your design studios, but most certainly in real life down the road, when we use a system like this, we want to be absolutely sure that we can do some totals and we can come up with some numbers. That's part of your job as an architect or a designer, to not only design something, but to have an idea of how much it costs. No, we're not professional cost estimators, but it does help us when we actually can put together this kind of information for our cost estimators or the curtain wall manufacturer to take a look at for us. Okay, so that's going to do it for today, everybody. I think there's a lot of good things to glean from what we went over today. We worked on our room schedule again, and we added some finishes to that. We got some percentages of level areas. We learned how to use a key schedule. That was very important. And all those things are still down there. Remember that little key schedule, that room style schedule? There it is, has not gone away, right? And then the second part, we did some quantities. We looked at the curtain panel schedule, some really interesting things there to count, almost like a window schedule in a sense, but it's not. And it's certainly not a door schedule. But it's a lot more complicated than just counting doors and windows. But now we see how we can associate cost to something that has an area. We have the height and width, and we know we can even combine those heights and widths into a combined parameter if we wanted to. Maybe we'll do that in one of our next lessons. Maybe we'll play with that, see what other information we can get there, because if we put our panels together that way, it may be a little easier to read. So maybe we'll think about that, or maybe you can experiment with that. Not a bad thing to try. But hopefully you got a lot from this lesson today, and I look forward to our next one, lecture 20, on Wednesday. So have a good day.